But I want to call your attention to some breaking news or developing news, if you will. Former President Barack Obama has thrown his support behind his former Vice President, Joe Biden, in his bid for the White House. Barack Obama made the announcement on his social media pages in a video just moments ago, and here's what he had to say about the presumptive Democratic nominee.
The kind of leadership that's guided by knowledge and experience, honesty and humility, empathy and grace. That kind of leadership doesn't just belong in our state capitals and mayor's offices. It belongs in the White House. And that's why I'm so proud to endorse Joe Biden for President of the United States.
All right, so Caitlin Huey-Burns is joining me now to talk more about Barack Obama's announcement. Caitlin, you know, a lot of people have been wondering and waiting waiting for an announcement of this kind, wondering why Barack Obama was sitting on the sidelines for so long. And now I guess the question is, why come forward now?
Hi, Emery. Well, this is big news for the Biden campaign. And with coronavirus kind of hovering over the news cycle, taking up all of the oxygen, it's really difficult for the presidential candidates to really gain any momentum during this time. And what we've seen from the Biden campaign this week is two big endorsements. Yesterday from Bernie Sanders and today from Barack Obama. And the theme coming out from Democrats this week is that the party is unified around Joe Biden's candidacy. That was certainly the message coming from Barack Obama in this endorsement. The former president has been on the sidelines for the duration of this entire Democratic primary, a primary that saw the most diverse field in history. And last month, when I interviewed Joe Biden, I asked why Obama hadn't endorsed him yet and whether he needed to unify the party at that time. And Biden told us that he asked Obama not to endorse him because he didn't want to feel entitled during this primary, that he wanted to, in his words, earn this on his own. But he said he would be confident that when he did come around to being the presumptive nominee, if indeed that happened, which it has, that Obama would be in his corner. So today, this big endorsement from Obama. And what was really striking to me, listening to the former president in that video that he released, was a couple of different things. First, not only the endorsement of Biden, but also these olive branches that he was passing to the former contenders, especially Bernie Sanders. And the idea was that he basically nodded to a lot of different things that the candidates had talked about throughout the course of this primary. And what was notable to me was that he said it's just not enough to go backwards. He said, Obama did, that even if he were running again, he wouldn't have run the same race that he did in 2008 because times are different. And there is this need to go further, not just back to the way things were. So that's kind of a nod to Sanders and some other candidates. And I think you can take this message today that the former president wants the party to be unified, and he said that he will be on the campaign trail as soon as he can.
So do you think that that may give us an indication as to what Barack Obama's role may be moving forward, or part of what his role might be moving forward is to sort of woo back those progressive voters that really had backed Bernie Sanders in a very, very passionate way. And now, you know, there's a risk that they may not vote at all, some people say. So is part of it trying to sort of bring them back into the fold?
Certainly, he has a big role to play in that regard. A notable passage from his 12-minute-long video today was kind of listing a bunch of changes that he thinks have to be made. And he said, look, Democrats may disagree on how to actually implement these changes, but we all agree, he said, that in order to do anything, you have to win an election. So that's certainly the message coming from him. And you raise a good question about what kind of role Obama will play. Throughout the course of this primary, Democrats have been trying to figure out how to kind of rebuild that Obama coalition that was so successful in 2008 and in 2012, and particularly among young people and African-American voters, which many Democrats believe have to be a cohesive unit behind the Democrats in November, particularly younger voters. Now, a lot of those younger voters who supported Obama in 2008 are now not the youngest voters. There's this new generation of voters coming in, and Bernie Sanders had really spoken to that generation. And you've been hearing from Joe Biden and Obama today, kind of trying to get them back into the fold. So Obama is still a beloved figure on the Democratic side. He's the most popular Democrat in the party right now. He certainly has a role to play campaigning for the former vice president and trying to rally the troops behind him. The question is, when can he actually get back out on the campaign trail? This has been a struggle for Biden throughout the course of this pandemic, is kind of how to break through, how to get out there, how to speak to voters while they're at home. So Obama can kind of utilize his digital operation and kind of speak to them that way. But you can tell by that video that he's itching to get back out on the campaign trail.
So, at this point, Joe Biden is the presumptive Democratic nominee. And looking ahead to a head-to-head race against Donald Trump, clearly Barack Obama is incredibly popular among Democrats. But Joe Biden is also going to have to woo people who may have voted for Barack Obama at one point, became disillusioned, was energized by the possibility of a Trump administration, and voted for Donald Trump. He's going to have to be attractive to people who are not necessarily dependable Democratic voters. Will Barack Obama help or not in that regard?
That's a great question. And hearing from the Trump campaign and the president's allies today, they are certainly trying to make that clear and kind of speak to those voters who turned against Obama in 2016. And the re-election campaign of Donald Trump is also trying to tie Joe Biden to Bernie Sanders and kind of painting him with the Sanders brush, that of a self-proclaimed democratic socialist. So those are going to be the themes coming from the Trump campaign, and they could be difficult and present some challenges. There has been this debate in the Democratic Party about how to win back those voters who didn't show up or turned to the other side in 2016. There's been this debate about, okay, do you try to win back Trump voters, or do you try to boost up your numbers among young people, among Black voters? And so there has been this debate in the party about kind of how to do that. Joe Biden has been kind of presenting himself as the most electable of the Democrats, and we saw in exit polling over the course of the primaries that, especially in the final last few primaries, that Democratic voters, believe that he was the one that could kind of do that. But that will be a big question. Democrats, though, kind of argue that Obama plays much more of a positive than a negative for them, because he can kind of boost people, get them out to vote, and really harness his operation and his digital organization to really reach people.
All right. Interesting stuff. Caitlin Huey-Burns, love having you on. Thank you so much.
Good to see you. Thank you.